on to our Bridgewater-Raynham Regional School District School Committee FY21 public hearing. In accordance with the rules of public forum as defined in Massachusetts Statute Chapter 30A, Chapter 21, and with the Bridgewater-Raynham School Committee Policy BEDH-E, these are the guidelines we will follow for the hearing. First, please note that this hearing is for informational purposes, and the school committee will not vote on the budget as presented this evening. At the regular school committee meeting scheduled on March 25th at the Raynham Middle School, the FY21 budget as presented will be considered and a vote will be taken at that time. For the purpose of tonight's meeting, our Budget Subcommittee Chair, Mr. Tony Gelfi, will present the FY21 school budget proposal. We will then ask our superintendent, Mr. Swenson, if he wishes to add anything or to comment on the presentation. Following that, I will entertain any questions or comments from members of the committee, followed by public input. In conformance with the rules of public forum and our school committee policy, we request that any citizen wishing to speak before the committee, please identify him or herself by name and address. We also respectfully request that each speaker limit themselves to 3 minutes. But I, as chair, have discretion in extending that if appropriate. In accordance with the rules and with the permission of the chair, all citizens shall speak to the full committee through the chair and shall not address individual members or administrators. Any committee member may direct questions to any speaker through the chair in order to clarify comments of the speaker. With that, the Bridgewater-Raynham Regional School Committee's public hearing for the purpose of the FY21 budget presentation is called to order at 7 o'clock. And I would like to thank Mr. Barad for the BTV for filming. And with that, we'll invite Mr. Gelfi to the podium for the presentation.
Good evening. I'm Tony Gelfi, Chair of the District's Budget Subcommittee. This evening, I'll present the FY 2020-2021 proposed budget. Michael Dolan, Lillian Holbrook, Susan Prewandowski, and I serve on the subcommittee. The FY21 proposed budget is driven by our commitment to provide our students with a safe, supportive learning environment conducive to educational success, as reflected in our mission statement. The Student Success Plan is driven by 4 pillars: safe and supportive schools, curriculum and instruction, technology, and facilities. And I'll give you a moment to peruse it. These are our budget assumptions. And budget cost drivers. These are the primary areas of the budget responsible for the percentage increases from one fiscal year to the next. I'll give you one moment. Cost avoidance measures. The superintendent has requested 16 positions throughout the district. After discussion with the towns of Bridgewater and Raynham and careful consideration of budget numbers, the budget subcommittee recommends 3 of the 16 positions. However, we consider these 3 positions a cost avoidance measure. We'd also like to add curriculum resources for STEM and literacy programs. Capital items were also reduced, leaving the multi-use athletic field at the high school as a remaining capital item for the FY21 budget. Staffing, these 3 positions will allow the district to offset the cost of 5 anticipated out-of-district placements for the 2021 school year at a conservative cost estimate of $418,000. Although these positions may appear to be a cost driver, they are actually cost avoidance. and that they will reduce the special education out of district line, and they'll allow our students to be educated within the communities in which they live. The three positions are a K-1 teacher, school adjustment counselor, and educational support professional. The subcommittee also recommends the addition of funding for the following curriculum resources: Kindergarten Foundations of Literacy program, a science curriculum resource for students grades 5 through 8 titled STEM Scopes. This depicts the difference between the superintendent's preliminary budget versus the school committee's FY21 budget proposal, with all supplies and positions eliminated. The multi-use athletic field repair at the high school will remain as the only capital item. The district uses its revenue sources to offset costs and reduce the amount that will be assessed to our member towns. Funds such as circuit breaker, school choice, Medicaid reimbursements, and base funds contribute to the equation. And state revenue includes Chapter 70 and Chapter 71 funding. Each town is assessed using a formula based on their October 1st enrollment numbers. And budget timeline: Tuesday, March 17th, joint budget subcommittee meeting at the superintendent's office at 6:30. No better way to spend St. Patrick's Day. Wednesday, March 25th, school committee adoption of the FY21 budget, Raynham Middle School at 7 o'clock. And in April, certification of the FY21 total amount by the district treasurer. Tuesday, May 5th, 2020, town of the Bridgewater, final vote, Academy Building at 7:30. And Monday, May 18th, Raynham Town Meeting at the Raynham Middle School at 7 p.m. In closing, the district will continue to strive to offer 21st century educational programs, rigorous instruction, and safe facilities driven by the student success model as a means of ensuring that our students are successful academically, socially, and emotionally throughout their K-12 experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gelfi, for that presentation. And now, Mr. Swenson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Gelfi, for that presentation. I'd first like to start by thanking my administrative team. Many people may not realize, but the budget season actually begins in October, which is about a month into the budget that just previously got supported and passed the previous May. So they work very hard to come into our meetings and advocate for their buildings or their departments, as I used to do as a building principal myself. It is a difficult task because each of them knows what their buildings need to run at an optimal level. And I encourage them to advocate to the fullest extent. When they come to me, then we generate. That's how we put all of the individual budgets together to generate our operational budget. Then the real work begins. We need to start to prioritize what we can really truly advocate for, knowing what we need for the district, but at the same time being fiscally responsible to our contributing towns of Bridgewater and Raynham. And I'd like to thank the folks from Bridgewater and from Raynham for continuously supporting us throughout our budget seasons. I know there are some budget seasons that are a little bit more demanding than others, and I know the towns do their best to support us each and every year, and we are truly appreciative of that. This budget is no different than any other year's budget, where I come in each and every year, and the way that my individual building admin and department admin advocate for their departments and their buildings, I try to advocate for the district as a whole, knowing when I come in that most likely I'm not going to receive the full amount of positions asked for, supplies, materials, and resources. I really then lean on our budget subcommittee, which I have the most appreciation and respect for, and I want to thank those folks as well, because they, along with my money lady, who I have the utmost respect for as well, Kathy Macedo, really go through this budget with a fine-tooth comb, line by line, and try to figure out, again, a number that we can get to that supports the student success plan that we've put together over the course of the last year and a half, but also is something that is fiscally responsible and reasonable to our towns. This budget, I obviously wish we could incorporate a few more positions. I know that the positions that we are going to move forward with, as Mr. Gelfi explained, even though they may look like a cost driver, when you put that against what out-of-district costs are and transportation, it's actually a cost savings to our out-of-district line within the special education area of the budget. However, there are obviously other needs within the district. I know that at the high school, Mrs. Watson has advocated for many years for some departments that need support. I know one department in particular, the business department, that she wants to put in some more elective type courses, and we'd love to support her in that. But there are things that obviously we have to prioritize that we are identifying as our greater needs, unfortunately. Some of those being the social emotional needs of our students that we have talked about over the course of the last few years in this program that Mr. Gelfi detailed this morning, this evening, will be one that really services the needs of our neediest population, our students that we're identifying at the preschool level that are coming into us as kindergartens that need that social emotional support. We currently have a similar program at the La Liberty Elementary School, which is grades 2 through 4. We have the social emotional program at the Raynham Middle School, 5 through 8, and then we have one at the high school. The piece that is missing is that K-1 piece. So that is a program that we truly need, and it will add to the consistency and continuity of that social emotional program service. But we do wish we could get some more positions in. We also wish we could get some more of our resources in. We are able to look at Foundations, which is a literacy program that Mrs. Richards has advocated for. So we're trying to incorporate that in. And also with the new science standards throughout the Commonwealth, we currently do not have curriculum resources that are truly aligned to those new standards. So we truly need to look at a program to bring in. This year, we did work with some of our teachers doing the pilot of STEM scopes, and it seems the 5 through 8 folks really truly wanted this program to be part of this operational budget. So we are asking that that is the case. With that being said, reducing the staffing, reducing the supplies and resources, we also have capital needs within the district. We're sitting in a high school that's now 10 years old, over 10 years old. There are things that are aging and need to be replaced in all of our buildings. One thing that needs to be replaced here at the high school is the multi-purpose field out front. That is a field that's used obviously for football, lacrosse, soccer. We now use it for our graduation. It's used at times for physical education. It's used for community events. Community youth organizations use this as well. We're a Division I program. To not have a multi-purpose field on the facility and grounds of a Division I program would be concerning. Right now, due to some testing that we did last spring, we are being told that that field is no longer safe to play on. With that being said, without replacing the field turf and the underlying materials underneath, we would not be able to use that multipurpose field, not only at the high school, but within the community at large. So that is one of the capital items that we kept in. I also advocated for a track. We have not had a track now, I believe, going on 7 years. The track that is here was original to the old high school. It's been resurfaced several times, and at this point can no longer be. We don't have tennis courts here, which was part of the original design of this building that was reduced at the time when the building was being built and designed. So with that, the capital projects was about 2.2 million. We realized that was not feasible and probably not going to make it through the budget season. So we reduced those capital ground items along with some trucks and other items for the facilities department out of that capital line, and the only existing line right now is that resurfacing of the multipurpose field. So point being is, it was a true effort by all of us putting this budget together, but we realized that now we have to make some pretty difficult decisions, which we have to do each and every year. I am satisfied with what we have within here. Am I overly ecstatic with it? No, I would love to have more teachers within our classrooms, more class offerings at the high school and electives, more social emotional support through school adjustment counselors. But we realize that budgets are what they are, and we're only a piece of the puzzle of the overall municipalities that support us. So we are putting forth this budget tonight. We hope that through our joint meeting next week, we can have those conversations with the town, and we hope that they can meet us with the numbers that we are currently presenting. But again, thank you to everybody who was involved with this process. Thank you to the subcommittee and the full committee for your continued support.
Thank you, Mr. Swenson. Does anyone from the committee have any question or comment for Mr. Swenson?
Madam Chair, I do have a question. I guess this would be to Superintendent Swenson. In speaking with the towns, the FinComs, and I know we started off at 16 new positions, what was the status of those discussions?
They gave us some tentative numbers. The number that we originally received from Bridgewater was about a 2.99% increase over the FY20. So we kind of have been going along with that number. We did meet with Linda DeMello, who is the representative and liaison from FinCom in Raynham. She was comfortable with that number and felt as though Raynham might even be able to do a little bit more. But again, it's that model that and that formula that goes with if we have to, if we're going to raise or we're going to reduce one of the numbers on one side of the district, we have to do for the other. So that's kind of the ballpark that we kind of did our budgeting in and around that 2.9. I think if I remember, if I saw it correctly now, it's about 3.72 overall to Bridgewater, and a 3.71% increase from FY20 to the town of Raynham.
All right, any other questions? I have just a comment. The school adjustment counselor for the program, my understanding is that school adjustment counselor would also be utilized at the Merrill School, and then the current adjustment counselor who divides their time would be focused on the La Liberty School?
Yes, those conversations have been had that the school adjustment counselor that we would get for the actual K-1 sub-separate program could service the general population of Merrill as well. And then at that point, take that 0.5 position at Merrill. That's along with the point, it's one person, but we divided up 0.5, 0.5, and that would become a full-time position at the La Liberty Elementary School. So in a way, you kind of are kind of getting another half position on it. Right?
All right, anyone else? All right, anyone from the public have any comment? So, I think we're up to the adjournment part.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So voted. All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Appreciate